And when it comes to this flood damage, our farmers can't catch a break either, of course. This flood crisis is set to cost them up to $1 billion from lost crops and, of course, lost livestock. Meanwhile, rising fuel prices are pushing up the cost of living in regional areas, especially for farmers, and, of course, the price of groceries for everyone. James Jackson is the president of the New South Wales Farmers Federation. He joins me now. Thanks for joining me, James. Can I just ask you first up, is there any good news? Has this flood event brought sort of soaking rains to other parts that where they're out of the direct flood zones? Have a lot of farmers done well out of it, or has it just been too much rain at the wrong time of year?
It's sort of bittersweet, Chris. I mean, I hate to be a farmer complaining about rain, because 3 years ago I was on my knees praying for it. So there has been a bit too much, and we've seen a lot of crops damaged, a lot of our sugarcane in those northern valleys. The Tweed and the Richmond Valleys are big sugarcane producers in New South Wales, and we have seen a lot of damage to the cane crop, especially that young cane. We've seen a huge amount of damage to our dairy herd. A lot of those dairy cattle are on those very rich floodplains, and a lot of them actually got washed away. We're still trying to account for exactly how many are missing. We've got problems with, looking after the livestock that are there at the moment. We've had some immediate response from the LLS. We're seeing that's working okay, and some very generous donations, through the various NGOs, to look after those animals going forward. However, there are health problems for the animals that remain, mastitis problems. We've got feet problems. We've got Yersinia potentially emerging, post-flood, and all our pastures up the coast at the moment are all decimated, if you like. So the problem is going to be quite long-term. It's going to be a number of weeks, if not months, before a lot of those pastures are valuable for livestock again.
Yeah, so there are a lot of farmers going to need some short-term assistance to really get back on their feet, especially if they've lost dairy herds and the like. You've also got pretty high, very high fuel prices at the moment that will impact not just on the land, but with all the transport to and from. What are we expecting to see when it comes to consumers in coming weeks and months? So we're going to see shortages, we're going to see price increases?
Well, in some limited commodities, for some regions, I think there will be some price shortages. Beware, Chris, beware of, some of our retailers using this situation to essentially crank the consumers, because there's still a lot of product going through the marketplace. There's still a lot of people harvesting a lot of different products from a lot of different regions of Australia. So there's not a huge argument, except in a couple of specific commodities, for huge increases in prices in the supermarkets. So beware of that, and I would encourage the ACCC to be on top of any price gouging with this opportunity, if you like, saying, the floods have caused us all sorts of grief. The logistics are all over the place, in terms of diesel. It doesn't justify some of the price rises that we've been prepared for.
Yeah, let's hope the ACCC media monitors are onto that. Just a reminder for them to be very vigilant about that. Thanks so much for joining us, James. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the interest.
James Jackson there on the impact of the floods on the agriculture sector and how it's going to affect you and me as well.